Have you ever wondered if there's a secret formula, a blueprint for success that's been creating millionaires for almost 100 years? Well, today, we're unlocking the secrets of one of the most powerful books ever written, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. We're going to dig deep into the philosophy that has powered some of history's greatest achievements.
And this is the very question that sent a journalist named Napoleon Hill on an incredible 20-year quest. He just had to know, does success leave clues? Is there some kind of repeatable formula that anyone, you, me, anyone could follow? And trust me, what he found changed absolutely everything.
So, the story behind this book is pretty amazing. It all started with a challenge from Andrew Carnegie, who was one of the richest men in history. He basically dared Hill to spend the next 2 decades of his life interviewing 500 self-made millionaires to boil down all their wisdom into a single powerful philosophy. This book is the result of that epic journey.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to break down Hill's timeless wisdom into 3 simple stages. First, the inner game, mastering your mindset. Then, the action plan, creating your roadmap. And finally, unstoppable momentum, how you see it all the way through to the end. So let's start with step 1, the inner game. Because according to Hill, every great achievement, every fortune, every single breakthrough starts in the exact same place, right inside your own mind. The absolute starting point of it all is desire, and Hill is crystal clear about this. We are not talking about a simple wish or some vague hope. No, this is a white-hot, burning obsession, a purpose so deep that it's the first thing you think about in the morning and the last thing at night. It's the fuel that makes the impossible happen. You want a perfect illustration of this? Think of the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés. When he landed in Mexico to conquer the Aztec Empire, he and his soldiers were massively outnumbered. So to make sure there was zero thought of retreat, he gave one simple command: burn the ships. Just like that, there were only 2 options: win or perish. That is burning desire. It's when you create a state of mind where failure just isn't an option. And the cool thing is, Hill didn't just talk about theory. He gave a super practical 6-step formula to turn that abstract desire into a concrete reality. You gotta be specific about the money, decide what you'll give in return, set a hard deadline, create a plan, and this is key, write it all down and read it to yourself every single day. All right, principle number 2 is faith. As Hill put it, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's so true, right? Life's battles don't always go to the strongest or the fastest person. Sooner or later, the person who wins is the one who truly, deeply believes they can. That belief becomes like a force field against all the doubt out there. I mean, talk about unshakable faith. This story about Albert Einstein is just wild. When he was divorcing his first wife, he didn't have the cash for settlement. So what did he do? He promised her the prize money from a Nobel Prize he hadn't even won yet. He was so certain of his future success that he literally used it as collateral. That's the kind of faith we're talking about. So you're probably asking, okay, how do I get that kind of Einstein-level faith? Well, that brings us to the 3rd principle, autosuggestion. Think of this as the bridge to your subconscious mind. It's the process of consciously feeding yourself affirmations and visualizations over and over until your subconscious just accepts them as reality. And it's not just about seeing it in your mind's eye. It's about feeling it as if it's already happened. You have to bring all your senses into it. I heard a story about a billionaire who, when he was broke, would go to a Rolls-Royce dealership just to sit in the car and memorize the smell of the leather. He made his vision that real, that powerful. Okay, so you've built the mindset. The internal engine is roaring. Now it's time for step 2, turning that inner vision into a concrete, real-world action plan. The 4th principle is all about specialized knowledge. Hill makes this great point. If having general knowledge made you rich, university professors would be the wealthiest people on earth. But success isn't about knowing a little bit about everything. It's about becoming a true expert in your one specific field. You want to be the heart surgeon, not the general practitioner. Next up, we move into what Hill called the workshop of the mind. This is the 5th principle, imagination. This is where your desire and your specialized knowledge come together to create actual plans. Think about it. Everything humans have ever created was made twice. First, as an idea in someone's imagination, and second, as a physical thing. Google, the iPhone, the chair you're sitting in, all started as a little spark. But here's the thing. Imagination is a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weak. You can actually train it with what Einstein called thought experiments. Just look at any product or system around you and ask,
How could this be better? What would I do differently? That simple exercise keeps your creative engine tuned up. And now we get to the part that brings it all together. The sixth principle: organized planning. Let's be real. A burning desire without a clear plan is just a daydream. You have to take that big vision and break it down into logical, actionable steps. And you have to write it down. Just the simple act of putting a plan on paper makes it so much more likely to happen. All right, we've made it to our final section, unstoppable momentum. You've got the mindset, you've got the plan. This part is all about the grit you need to actually cross the finish line, especially when things get hard. Principle number 7 is decision. You know, successful people make decisions quickly and they stick to them. Unsuccessful people, they get easily swayed by what everyone else thinks. You have to learn to trust your own judgment. Remember this quote from Hill: "Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Learn to tune out the noise and trust your plan." Now we come to what might be the most critical principle of all: persistence. This is that iron will that just keeps you going when everyone else would have quit. Look, every single journey to success is littered with obstacles and what looks like defeat. Persistence is what separates the masters from the masses. It's the real moment of truth. Just think about the sheer scale of persistence this can take. Thomas Edison famously failed 10,000 times before he finally invented the light bulb. When a reporter asked him how it felt to fail that many times, he said, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully found 10,000 ways that will not work." What a mindset. Or how about this story? Colonel Sanders. He was 65 years old, broke, and driving around the country in his car trying to sell his secret chicken recipe. He got rejected 1,009 times before he finally got one single yes. That one yes became the KFC empire. He only needed one. And finally, we arrive at what Hill called the force multiplier for all these other principles: the mastermind. He was absolutely convinced that nobody achieves great success alone. A mastermind is just a small group of people all on the same page who support each other. It's like when you bring two minds together, you create a third invisible mind that's way more powerful. You've probably heard this quote before, and it is so true. Your environment is everything. The people you hang out with will either pull you up or drag you down. So you have to consciously choose to be around people who are positive, who are driven, and who believe in your vision. Think of them as your personal board of directors. So there it is. From that initial burning desire all the way to the power of the mastermind, this is the formula. It's been tested and proven for generations. The principles are timeless. The blueprint is right here, in your hands. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it?